All right. So, Joe, I think there's a lot of speculation out there about college in
Always.
the arena, right? Um, One of the problems that I think exists, and I'm looking for you to answer, is uh, when should people really start planning for college?
It's a great question. And it's one that I get asked a lot. The truth of the matter is, earlier is always better. Right? No one benefits in the college game by pushing it off,
Okay.
ever. But when people really ask, like, no, really, when is the date? It's before sophomore year of high school. The reason why is simply because of how the system works.
And so, why is it such a problem
Mhm.
if you wait?
So there's a few different reasons.
Okay.
The first is because of how this system works. January 1st of sophomore year is essentially the tax year that colleges are going to use to determine a couple years down the road how much you have to pay for college. So people think sophomore, I got plenty of time and they don't worry about it. The problem with that is they may do something in that tax year that essentially causes what they're going to pay for college all 4 years later, all 4 years of college, significantly more.
Hmm.
People can sell a property, they can sell stocks, they can take money out of retirement, and all of a sudden their cost of college potentially could go up $10,000 to $20,000 per year if you do this thing wrong.
Hmm.
The other piece is it's a little bit of a game and you have to know how to play it. And so someone like us, we can position things in a way that prior to that January 1st, your plan needs to be complete.
Mm.
So that if you play this game the right way, colleges never see it. In turn, you don't pay more for college than you should. And you qualify for more aid, which is why college will end up being less out of your pocket down the road.
Got it. So if you wait, does the problem get worse? And what's the long-term effect? What does it do to someone's life?
Well, it's a little, it's specific for everybody.
Okay.
Right. Part of the problem with waiting is just the not knowing the formulas, what goes into it. Because you might think you're doing the right thing in starting when your child's in first grade.
Mm-hmm.
But if how you're planning and where you're putting money at leading up to that sophomore year is something that is actually bad, you might have waited too long. So I say, yeah, the best time is to start because of the way the system works. But there's people that can be making mistakes very early in life that then again lead to overpaying for college. You overpay for college. Now all of a sudden, what effect does that have on retirement? What if you have multiple kids? You're planning on paying $30,000 a year for one kid. Now it's 50 because of what you did wrong leading up to that sophomore year, what you did wrong, after that base tax year.
So I guess arguably, the longer you wait, the more expensive it can be. The more expensive it can be, the longer the repercussions. The longer the repercussions, it jumps right into retirement.
It is a snowball effect without a doubt.
Got it.
So, and it's not always about, because you throw in taxes, you throw in, the time value of money and investments and where they can grow and how much they can grow. And again, if you do something wrong 15 years before you go to college, you have no idea what type of outcome that could be. But when you plan the right way, again, you inverse it. Now you could have all those potential benefits, right? By planning the right way. So pushing it off, ultimately just being educated is probably where the biggest problem lies with pushing it off. You just don't know how it works, which is ultimately what we want to help our families understand.
And so, how does it improve someone overall life, I guess, for lack of a better expression, if you address it the right way?
Well, the one thing is obviously college could cost less. Who wouldn't want to pay less for college? The piece that I always pride myself on is that when your child gets to that piece of choosing a school, you don't have to eliminate schools because of what you're going to have to pay. The child does the great job with the grades, with the test scores. They work hard. They have AP courses. They have, worked for a year on their college essay, and they get accepted to one of these elite institutions that they've always wanted to go to, but you made a mistake 3 years prior. And now that the cost of that school is $80,000. Whereas if you plan the right way, hey, it's 30. It's
Got it.
insane. So part of it is that it's not just the retirement and less money spent for college, more money that can grow for retirement. That's basic.
Yeah.
But the emotional side that people miss is I might have to eliminate schools for my child if I plan the wrong way. And as parents, no one wants to have to do that. You don't want to tell your child, no, we can't afford it, so you can't go there.
Yeah. And obviously you're an expert in the space. So what do you do to help families kind of go through this?
Well, everybody's situation is going to be unique and different. How many kids you have, where you have money, how much can you save? How I help families is if I can get to them early enough, we can know, are they on the right track? Where are the gaps? Can we right the ship, right? Or was it 15 years that we were 1 degree off course and now we're lost at sea,
Yeah.
right? And how soon can we fix the problem? You know, I talk with families all the time when they discuss before meeting with me, they thought college worked a certain way. And it turns out it's the exact opposite. And the truth of the matter is, if everything you knew about college planning turned out to be a lie, how soon would you want to know about it?
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of families face when they come to me too early. So no matter where they're at, I want to be able to help families to be in the position to be able to pay college, not have anyone go into a mountain of debt, not sacrifice retirement. But also, I don't want price to be a determining factor on where their child goes to school, right? If you look at Penn State and University of Pennsylvania, if University of Pennsylvania is $80,000 a year and Penn State is 40, I can understand you saying you have to go to Penn State. But if University of Pennsylvania is 42,000 and Penn State is 40 and the child still goes to Penn State, it's because they felt it was a better fit for them. It's not because of that $2,000 price increase.
Yeah.
And that is what ultimately I want to make sure that I help my families accomplish. But it all comes down to understanding what they truly want, what position they're in, and then guiding them the right way with this system that they may have just been unfamiliar with.
Got it. So, what's the big lesson here? What's the key to success? I mean, obviously we've talked about starting early. We've talked about all this stuff. Like, but what is that key? The
key is you got to know the game. You have to know and how it's going to be applied specifically to you. The lesson is there's no such thing as too early. That is the lesson. If you just had a child, it is worth knowing what the system, how it is today, so that you, 18 years from now, said I was on the right course, and you have to dive in and know this system specifically.
Well, and I think you made the point that it's different for everybody. So you can't just go, well, my neighbor did it this way, or my friend did it this way, because it may not apply to you, right?
Right. And people are in different situations when they have a child, right?
Yeah.
They might have had kids later and they have a significant amount of investments. That strategy is completely different than for someone that might have a significant amount of investments when their child's a sophomore. Two very different plans could exist to maximize benefits down the road.
Oh, I mean, you could look at the variability of academic performance. The one's in band, one's in a sport.
Yeah.
Like a lot of variables come into it, right?
And your position will obviously change over time. And that's something else we're always reviewing to make sure we're always on that proper path. But it's where you're at, where you want to be. Make sure that you have a roadmap. You're benefiting from everything that you can benefit from. You're not putting yourself at detriment, avoiding any potential pitfalls or speed bumps down that pathway. But if you don't know how the road winds, if you don't know directions that you're supposed to take, you could end up lost in this. And when you end up lost, you got to limit the schools that your kids can go to. And you could be putting your retirement in jeopardy at the same time.
Yeah. So the people listening and watching this, right, they have the aha, like, oh, geez. How do they start? Like, how do they get in touch with you and work with the organization?
Yeah, I would say visit elitecollegiateplanning.com. No matter where you're at in the process, you can go there just to be educated, right? We have videos, blog posts. We talk about this system and how it essentially works in a general nature. But also after you familiarize yourself with some terms like cost of attendance and expected family contribution, have a one-on-one session with one of our education consultants to see, okay, how does this formula apply specifically to you in your situation and based on what you're trying to accomplish with your goals? Because that's when you would know, everything I'm doing is wrong, or I don't have a plan yet and I need to address it. I'm running out of time. So wherever you're at, you can benefit from knowing this and then having that one-on-one, essentially sit down to really understand how all these formulas apply specifically to you and your family.
And as a general premise here, we've talked about as a company, it's to educate.
Mhm.
And so part of that education process is that sit down. And we've got to get people to a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So that they can have those conversations. So obviously worked with many families. You've been through this process hundreds of thousands of times, right? There's lots of help we've done. What do people say after they go through the process with you?
I think that the first thing that almost everybody says, and kind of when they come to me as a junior, or even some families that feel when they're a sophomore, is thank you so much. We couldn't have done this without you. But then it's always followed up with, we wish we came and saw you 5 years ago. That is almost always what is said. I do feel fantastic when the plans come to fruition and all of a sudden somebody is going to the school of their dreams and they're paying less than an in-state state school. They didn't believe that it would happen. I have a lot of families after the fact, their child is, going to University of Pennsylvania, one story, but Franklin and Marshall, Syracuse. Yeah, is one of my my favorite clients that I helped out early on in my career. And I think part of it is they think that what I'm teaching them, that can't really happen. Nobody can go to Syracuse for $9,000 a year. Nobody can go to University of Pennsylvania.
Yes,
and when it happens, they are, you were right. Yeah. And that, not just the being right piece. It's not about being right.
Nope.
It's them having the faith to trust me, them moving forward with it, and then it working. It's a strong, it's a powerful, because I know there's a lot of families that I meet with, their kids would have been going to Penn State, whether it was a fit or not, just because that's what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they thought they should be doing. But when we dived in and we realized there is a better path, and now there's other schools that open up that are a much lower cost, or even the same cost that they thought would be,
but a better fit, or what?
Yeah. That is where families truly see this. And I'm not saying every family I work with pays $9,000 to go to Syracuse, but I've had a lot of families that said, well, we want to go to Syracuse, we can't afford it. Well, hold up.
Let's into the nuts and bolts.
Let's look into it. And then when we look at it, guys, Syracuse is going to be the same price as Penn State. Because too many families eliminate a school based off that sticker price. It's not how the system works. So when it comes through, it's ultimately very gratifying to show you made someone's dreams become a reality.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.